Labyrinth of Solomon, king of Israel, son of King David. He was famous for his wisdom, and he had very advanced technology. From what I have read, the throne of King Solomon was flanked by lions that would turn their heads to face him as he was walking up the steps of the throne. What kind of technology was able to do this? And yet, this is what was going on. We wouldn't be surprised because even the ancient Greeks had technology and they had robots. And this is one of the paintings having to do with his throne, Queen of Sheba approaching him, and his throne flanked by the lions that would turn their heads as he would go up the steps of the throne. But this has to do with the Labyrinth of Solomon. This is on Eden Saga by Xavier Seguin. Labyrinths have occupied architects and builders since ancient times, and before. Since ancient times, pilgrims were flocking to browse mazes, and what may well fascinate to this point in these children's playgrounds. Have you ever heard stranger of a labyrinth? Solomon formed the plan in his mind and built with stones and circles. His drawings show the layout, shape, and complication drawn with thin lines in a rational way. Seeing his 1,000 circuits from the inside to the outside, its spherical roads back around, of there and here, on their own, learn the circular course of life, thus showing you the slippery bends abruptly folding his ways. By its spherical circular developments, it wraps subtly its cord in compounds, as well as pernicious serpents in its folds, creeps and slips at sometimes obvious and sometimes secret way. It has a door placed obliquely at difficult access, and more you come running from outside, wanting to jump over it by its sudden turns, it engages you in to the depths where it exists, and there where the exit is. It seduces you in your daily errands. It played with you and laughed at you with the returns of hope, like a dream that you believe in vain visions, until the time that the comedy rule has elapsed, and the death, alas, setting everyone in the shade you have received without allowing you to succeed to reach the exit. Certainly, lifetime of research looks like a maze, but it's not enough to explain why we love mazes so much. The source of this universal passion comes from elsewhere. Symbolism is what is left to those who have forgotten efficiency. The similarity with the sinuous snake can provide another hypothesis. The serpent people, the flying reptile gods of the past, could they bequeathed us the maze with everything else? Where would we be without them? The eternal question, still unanswered since Sumer. Probably just the same. They are only a pawn, an inch on the map, like all of us, like any civilization, like anything that lives and dies. Another mystery of the essential Solomon, his labyrinth, it does lend to the rich, and Solomon was not the poorest of the kings. They say he made of alchemical gold. The labyrinth of Solomon was likely to mislead the unwary traveler as the maze of the Minotaur. The Minotaur was the half man, half bull. The Minotaur was of the Minoans in the palace of Knossos. And we know that the only one that was able to slay him was Theseus, and he was able to escape the Minotaur with his life. Now, some mazes have this role astray, others have to function to keep us a while there. Both amount to the same. By browsing through the maze, we will store the valuable geo-energy that pulsates. But other researchers have stressed the spiral effect mazes. Churches thus turns on itself. The sacred pilgrim feels dizzy. That amplifies the effect of prill pulsing beneath his feet. For all the mazes are carefully positioned on points vibrating up the ladder of Bovis voir, the image captioned below. The layout of the maze keeps a pilgrim as long as possible to the point where it can do the full of energy and subtle purge toxins. That's why it is recommended to go through this type of maze barefoot, they said. The man who reaches the center of the maze, after going rationally through it, after dancing it, is a changed man, as far as I know. This is what Louis Carpentier said. He said, in a way of an intuitive open-mindedness to natural laws and harmonies, which he maybe will not understand, but he will feel them inside him. He will feel united with them, and it will be the best test of truth, as pitch is the test for the musician. These questions go beyond the mind, so that it's difficult to explain them with words. For a few years, scientists are fond of other physical phenomena of the same nature, such as free energy, the Tesla energy, Real MHD, anti-gravity, plasmas, the green flash and the negative green, etc. Soon these phenomena will be linked together in a joint study which will become a science, like in the time of Atlantis. Moreover, French biologists like Roger de la Forêt or Jean de la Foy got interested in a similar radiation resulting from a natural or artificial imbalance of Earth's magnetism. Spirals and labyrinths have a specific action on human mind, as on any life form. This action is more powerful when labyrinths are drawn in high cosmotelluric radiation areas. Quote, it is regrettable that the archaeologists consider these particular geometrical forms as mere decorations or as common symbolic shapes, from a double helix of DNA, source of all life, to the spiraled galaxies, from the infinitesimal to the infinitely great. The paths to Jerusalem deliver us a message that we cannot understand, end quote, because it must be understood by the body, with the belly power. Okay, this is by Eden Saga, on Eden Saga by Xavier Seguin, Creative Commons, and I'll leave a link below for you for this. Tell me what you think. Apparently, the labyrinths were made for you to stay in there as long as possible, so that you can receive beneficial geomagnetic energy for healing. This is not the first time that we hear about the use of geomagnetic energy for healing. We did a video on that concerning the Greek temples that have columns in front. And it was thought that when you pass those columns to go into the temple, those columns are a way of bringing up geomagnetic energy from the ground to that was in the energy being stored in the columns, and as people would be standing between the columns, passing, because there was usually two rows of columns at least before going into the building, you would receive a beneficial geomagnetic energy for balancing you and balancing your health. And that was their reason for having columns in front of the Greek temples. So that's not the first time we hear about their use of geomagnetic energy for healing, just like in these labyrinths. Please leave your comments, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.